Start recording. Good day, everyone. You had your first home assignment. I was glad to know that most of you have done it, or pretty much everyone, I guess, at least tried. Couple of comments. I won't be commenting anyone separately for now, but a couple of comments about doing different tasks, homeworks, and later in your life it might be some test assignment when you apply to some job. So first of all, sometimes tasks are specially made this way that you cannot 100% be sure what do they want from you. And if you don't understand something, don't hesitate to ask questions, because if you don't understand the task, you shouldn't do it because you do an extra. You might do some extra work. So if someone didn't understand, I always advise to ask questions, even if you work, if it's a test assignment or whatever it is, because the most important thing to do the job fast and do it right is to know is to understand what do they want from you. So that's one of the comments I give everyone on the first home assignment. Second thing I wrote is already in chat. I didn't explain that we have priority with arithmetic operators, because pretty much same like the teachers at schools that addition and subtraction are done last, so multiplying and division is done second or first, but we have exponentation as well, and exponentation is the most priority. And before I start doing something, I'll show you an example. I will print, let's say, 10 uh, plus 10, or let's say times 2, and exponentiate to 2 as well. So if I do that, we'll get an answer 40. Why do we get that? Because exponentation is done first. So we get 4. 2 power 2 is 4. And 4 times 10 is 40. So if we want that operation to be last, and you, for those of you who did this code 2 in one line, you needed to do this as a last operator. So you can use brackets like in math. So you can put extra brackets, and then everything that is in the brackets will be done first, and everything outside of the brackets is done last. Division, floor division, and remainder are the same, and multiplication as well. So they have all the same priority. The only higher priority is exponentation. So that's why some of you maybe didn't get the right answer. The right answer for code 2 was 16, but we will check it out. So calculates age from the given data, current year minus year of birth. So it's an approximate, it's not the correct age, but we need to save it somewhere. So we should start with creating a variable. I will name it age, and use variables that we already have. Current year minus year of birth. So we will get age of the person. Why is that? Because we were given these values already. And the thing is, when you do that, when you don't write, for example, age, then you look up, you see 2023 minus 1998. This way of writing a program is same if you would start counting on a piece of paper. And the programming is all about automatization. So if you can take data from the variable, you should do that. And next time, for example, you write your piece of code to find the solution, and you can change these values and get different results with the same code. That's the point of programming. So we need to reuse everything we have as much as possible. So now when we found age, we need to find code 2. Code 2 is, you can find it in 4 steps. So let's do it step by step. If you did separate variables all the time, because I know some people do like that, code 2, do the first step, then write, for example, code 2, 1, do another step. Hello? Do another step. It's not a bad thing, so it works. And I can tell you that when I check your homeworks, a main thing for me that the given task is done. So this means if the task is your program should do something and your program does do something, then it's done correctly. Number of lines of code and how much clean your code is and so on, it's not a big deal because the main thing for programming, program must work. It must complete tasks. When you download some apps to your mobile phones, you probably have already mentioned that you have updates for them pretty much at least once a week for some applications. And if you read update notes, they usually do write what was updated. You can see some bug fixes, optimization, and so on and so on. What does that mean for us? This means that there was a task to create a program that works. It was done, and after that, programmers look through the code and find solutions to optimize code, to make it work faster, to clean the bugs, and so on and so on. So basically, one task can always be done in many different ways. The most optimal way will come in a time when you write a lot of programs. You will understand what's the best way to do some tasks. But for now, you could create separate variables, but I will do it in one line because nothing can stop us from doing that. So the first part was finding the remainder of x divided by y. So we'll do that. X percentage sign y. This will give us remainder. Uh, Next step is multiplication. So we need to take the result obtained from last step and multiply it by 13. So we can do it this way. Actually, we can multiply without brackets. So I can do it this way. 13. Why is it working? Because I already told last lesson that all operators work step by step. So Python doesn't take all of the equation and get the results. What Python does, it reads code left to right, and then finds, all right, we have an operator and two operands. So we get the result. Next, we have a result here, and we take next operator, and so on and so on. So you can put brackets in here. It won't change anything. So if you have brackets here, it will still work the same, but it's not needed. So we can take it away. Next part was getting the square root of result. I already told you that square root is not present in pure Python. So we need to use math library. I didn't show you that, so I didn't expect you to do that. But one of you did use math library. That's good. I like when people find solutions themselves because that's pretty much what programmers do. That's pretty much what the difference between good programmer and bad programmer. A good programmer can find the solution from somewhere else as well. So look for information to find a solution for the task. But I showed you last lesson that we can use experimentation. It comes from math, and if we put 0.5 as a power, we will get the square root of the value. So basically everything that is here we put to power of 0.5 and get the square root. I put brackets here just because of the reason I explained before. Experimentation is the main priority, and because we need to do this step with the results of first two steps, I put brackets here. So first of all, everything inside the brackets will be done, and then we go outside. Last step was to get integer part of the result. You can achieve this by several ways. First of all, you can use floor division by 1. It is a solution, but best solution is just converting this number to integer. Well, you remember from the last lesson that converting to integer just puts the floating point part away and leaves the whole number. There is no difference. Both of these ways are correct. Either you used floor division by 1 or you used the integer method. Can I see? Float. Let me run the code now. Yes, when you use floor division, we saw it last lesson, it does return float. It's actually it's truth. So basically, if we do it this way, by one, print.
You didn't close the bracket.
I don't have to.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Go to. That's okay. Sometimes I do forget to close the bracket, so if you see that, you can always tell me. So yes, the thing is that floor division still returns float, and the reason for that is that we had floats inside the equation. So basically, this result is a float, and float divided by 1 gives us a float. So float divided by integer still gives us a float. So if you use int for that,
So the correct
int
result is
int, or you can use floor division by 1, and no, there's no point converting it to int then. So yes, right thing is int, and if you got the result 16, then you did everything correct. Mhm. So we got code 2. Now, third task. This wasn't done by all of you. Some of you skipped this part. The task was combine the code into separate variable. It's not a big deal if you if you work somewhere, so you can decide which way you do. But if you have, for example, a job assignment, someone wants to test your skills, and it says that you need to add it to separate variable, they will definitely check if you did. So I understand that in general it's not needed. We can put all of the parts in the last piece just by combining them to string. But if you have an assignment where it says add into separate variable, then you must do that. Otherwise, you will get less points for this assignment. So be careful with these, especially when you're just applying to work. When you work, it's a different world. But when you apply to work, these tasks are specially made to see if you just do just do what you want to do, or you do what are you told to do. So for some employers that might be important. And the last part is printing the string. I will do it classic way, like I showed you last lesson, with using the plus operator. But in the end of today's lesson, I will show you a better way that I think you will be using later on with all of your strings. So let's start. Hello, name and surname. So I'll start with writing a string. I will do hello. I definitely need to add spaces because if you use a plus sign, concatenation works like you take one string and add another right at the end of it. So if you want a space here, you need to add it. We have a username and user surname variables here already. They are strings, so we can use them. So I'll do username plus space plus user surname plus, I will continue writing a string from here, dot space UR, and then we need to add age. So I will put it this way, UR space plus. Now I need to add age. Yes, we need to convert it to string because age is a number, is an integer here, because we took year, a current year, and year of birth. We subtracted year of birth from current year, and now age is an integer, and we know that we can't concatenate strings and integers, so we can't use a plus operator for two different data types. That's why we can convert it here. str age, it shouldn't cause any errors, and then I continue writing my string. So years old, your secret code is, I will leave a space here as well, plus. Now I did forget to add everything in one variable, so we will do it separately. I will do a variable name code. And now we need to look at the data types. Code 1 is already a string. Should we use string or integer for this code, for that part? String. Why string?
Because everything.
Yes, because minuses are not parts of the integers, and we won't be able to use integers or floats, for example, to create that code. So we need to use strings. If we use strings, we need to see code 1 is a string already, so we can use it as it is. Code 1 plus minus sign plus code 2. Code 2 is an integer, so we need to convert it. Let's do it here. str code 2 plus minus sign plus, and code 3 was also an integer, so we need to add code 3 to convert code 3 to str code 3. And now when we have code, we can use it here. Code, and I think there was a dot in the end as well. Was it? Yes, there was. It was. Hello, John Smith. Oh, I found a mistake. My mistake here. I didn't put space before years as well, so I'll correct it. You are 35 years old. Your secret code is 354 So basically, this task. Yes.
Combined. Oh, so okay, I understood this task wrong. Like, I was thinking like the exam, they should put the exam this one as a second.
Okay. Okay. I didn't mention
And
that.
combine the code into separate variable. What that? Like I didn't understand what that.
Yes, it meant that you should do a separate variable code and put all of the parts of the code in one variable so you can reuse it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I tell next time if you don't understand something or you think you might not understand something, or maybe you think, oh, it's crystal clear, but something seems wrong, you should ask. Yeah, don't hesitate. I usually answer quite quickly, but sometimes it takes time for me, but I usually do it quick. And as about me, if you're doing this, let's say late, I don't know, maybe 12 at night, 1, 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. or something like that, you can still write me because it's quite often I don't sleep at this time, so I will still can answer.
But I was thinking like, why we need this code if we are not using it?
Yep, we needed to use it. So that's pretty much it. So main things, once again, this assignment was more for working with different types and using some arithmetic operators. It wasn't hard one, but of course we did only one lesson and we didn't have too much time to check it. Did anyone check files on GitHub? Because if you did, you could find the triangle area app here. We usually do it in a classroom, but last time we didn't have a lot of time left. But you can check it at home. So basically, what you see here is a calculator that can take 3 sides of the triangle and find its area. It uses all of the methods and operators you learned from last lesson. So basically, it's inputs. You input some numbers, they are converted to floats. Then you find the half perimeter and the triangle area through the half perimeter. It's quite interesting because if you check that, and you will understand that you can use Python as a calculator for different math formulas. So you can write your own formulas already if you want. So please check it at home. All right. Any questions? Good. I will save the solution in the same file. So I had this homework py file. I will update it and then it will be with the solution already. And today I want to talk to you about strings as a separate data type. And the reason is the reason for that is that string is not as simple as I tried to explain last lesson. Comparing to integers, floats, booleans, or non-type, strings are more complex data types. And I'll start with empty file. I usually name mine testers, but these are temp files, so you can name it whatever you want. And I'll start with writing down a couple of strings. First of all, I will do string sample. I will use string with a word that is there a couple of times. For example, hello world world. Do it this way. You can do that as well. Just write down string sample. Let's name it string sample 1 because we'll have a couple of those. So the main thing in this string is we have world written 2 times, exactly the same word. String sample 2, I'll use single quotes, don't like double quotes. Actually, I will show you today, but as from Python 3.12, and you installed Python 3.12 last lesson, there are quite good changes for these quotation marks. I will show you this a little bit later. Second string needs to have upper and lower cases wrong. This means that we have some uppercase in the middle of the words. I will say that first letter, maybe this way, is lower case. Something like that, where upper and lower cases are mixed up. We need it for a couple examples. String sample 3. This one will have some extra white spaces in the beginning and extra stars. So I will write extra white space and stars. In the beginning and in the end of the string. So some symbols that we don't want to be there, some extra spaces. I'll put these asterisk signs. And for the last line, we need to Google one letter because we will be using German letter. If you go to Google and write German letter SS, you can find that letter here. So in German language, they use this letter for double S. And I want you to copy it. I will do a German sample. This is needed just for one example. I will write der Fluss. So if you read it in German, it's der Fluss, like double S, but they have a special sign for that. And this is needed just for one example. And tell me when you are done with this. Hmm?
It's not long.
Hmm?
It's not long.
Doesn't copy.
I mean, it's copied, but main line.
Just delete the extra line. Line break.
Okay.
Line break is a symbol as well. It's a character. If we speak about text, I will show it today as well. So line break is a character, and if you used Microsoft Word, there is a special button to show line breaks. So line break is similar to white space, but it's a symbol, so it actually presents there. Is everyone done?
I'm done.
Mhm. Mm, let's start explaining a little. So, as you mentioned, I try to use single quotes mostly because I like single quotes. It's my own decision. But some people like double quotes. It's okay. And I already told last lesson that there are actually a couple of ways of creating a string. I'll do something like text and use single quotes first of all, single, and print it. Print text. The thing with single quotes and double quotes is that they don't have any difference. So I can use single quote here or use double quote. I can show you a little life hack. If you select starting quote and change it for another, for double, the closing quote will change as well. So you can do it quicker. So if I print it with a single quote or using double quote, it doesn't make any difference. Also, you might want to write a couple of lines of text. For example, single quote. I just pushed enter. You see that you have this backslash added here, and the next string starts next line. It is used when you have long strings and they don't fit into the width of the document. It's better than when you do when you put it next line. But if you print it, it will still be a single line of text. So you can write multi-line strings, but all of the formatting you do, all the line breaks, won't be added there. So basically, I can do another one. Yep, something else.
You are adding it yourself.
No, I just put the cursor inside the string and push enter. But it needs to be inside string, because if it's outside, it won't be added. So when you are inside string, push enter. Does it work? Let's check. Put it inside the string. Okay, it does differently, but it should work as well. Then you can do it manually. String. Which one? Uh, don't get you. You mean this triangle area? No, it's on GitHub account, so you can check it later at home. We won't be using it today. So doing this is quite good when you have long string and you want to write it in, let's say, fit it inside your screen. Actually, I can open our homework, homework py, and this is the long string. So what can I do? I can actually put a line break after the operator, like that. It will still work, and it is advised that you put line breaks after the operator. So when you read the code, you see, okay, plus sign, then something else should be there. You will start looking on the next line. Or you can put a line break inside the string. Well, this doesn't work well. Yep, but you need to delete some extra spaces there. So it's better to put it near the operator. It will do the same thing with single quotes. So basically, if I change all these double quotes to single quotes, nothing will change. So double and single quoting is exactly the same thing. There was a problem before in Python when you wanted to use, let's say, I have the word that's. So that's has a single quote inside it. And if I do it like this, actually I can change to Python, let's see, terminal, let me just do a quick check, Python version, 312.1 Python I'll just create a virtual environment because it's the new project, not the one I used before. Come on. Taking some time. All right. Mhm. Here's one. I'll double check with Python 3.12 because they had some changes done there. Existing, okay. It shows me 3.10. I don't know why, but yeah, this still won't be working like it shouldn't be. Just give a sec, it will update all the info. So if you want to use a single quote inside the string that is done by single quotes, it gives us a problem. That's why, because we start with a single quote and the end of the string is marked with a single quote. If we have one single quote inside, what it does is actually closes the string. Then this S letter is interpreted as a variable, and then we have another single quote after that. So basically, for a Python interpreter, this means an error. So what can I do here? I can change single quotes to double quotes, and I will get rid of conflict. It still shows me this red thing because Python interpreter isn't updated for me. So it will take some time. So this is one of the reasons why we have two different types of quoting. So if I want to use double quotes inside the string, I would rather pick single quotes for the string and double quotes as a symbol inside. It's one of the ways to work with this problem. Oh my god, why it's taking so long? I think it even should be installing faster. Mm-hmm.
But if you put double quote after that, if you were using single quote before, it will print double quote.
Yes, but it's logical. So
But you're not using this double quote.
yeah, that's right. So double quote is a one symbol, single quote is another symbol. So if you do it the other way around, you put text single quote that double quote s, it will still work. But we don't use double quote inside that. But maybe you want to say something like my favorite book is, and put double quotes here for the Metro 2033. Maybe you want to do something like that. That's when you should choose between single or double quotes. It's not always like that. We have some, I don't understand why it's so long. We have some different ways of working with that. Oh, actually, this problem was solved. We still can use single quotes with a single quote inside, but for that we need to use so-called escape characters. So I'll do the same word, but before these single quotes, I will put the backward slash. Then now. So backward slash in Python strings is called an escape character. So basically what it does, it prevents Python from taking this quote as a part of Python code, but makes it just a character. So if you want a single quote inside the string that is marked with single quotes, you just put a backward slash before it and everything works fine. So if I, oh, all right, done updating. So if I do that, it will work. But if I take this backward slash away, I will still have a mistake. So it's another way of dealing with problems like that. It will be working the same way if you use double quotes and escape character. So I will speak about escape characters a little bit more later, but I did show you that single or double quotes do not allow you to put multi-line text inside. I also showed you last lesson that you can use triple single quotes or triple double quotes. Let's try that. I will say hello people of planet Earth, something like that, and send it to print. So what we see now, triple single quotes or triple double quotes still create a string, but the difference between single and double quote is that all of the formatting of text, all spaces, all tabs, all line breaks will stay in the string. So if you want a pre-formatted string, the string that remembers everything, all of these extra spaces and stuff, all of the line breaks, you should use triple single quotes or triple double quotes. It doesn't matter which, they still work the same. So I can change that to triple and that to triple double quotes. Yep, and it still will work the same. So you have two types of creating strings with a single quote or a double quote or triple single quotes, triple double quotes. If you use triple, it remembers formatting. If you use singles, then it doesn't remember formatting. That's the difference. So I think you will be mostly using single or double quotes. Triples are needed for some special occasions. But if you use a triple quote way of creating a string, you can actually use single or double quotes inside whatever you want, because these will be treated as symbols now, because string is marked with three quotes, not with one. So you can put any of the quotes inside the triple string because it won't close the string, so you don't have to escape them. Yep, so we have them here as a separate symbols. It works. Okay, another thing. Strings are not simple. That's what I told you before. And I need to explain that there is no such thing as simple and complex data types in Python. Python doesn't divide data types. There are data types, but for me personally, I do have this separation because single or simple data types are usually types that have no elements inside. So basically, integers, floats, booleans, non-type, they are only one value, always one value, whatever you do. But strings are different, and to prove that, I will use the print method and add another new method for you, the method len. Len is a short name from length, and you can measure length of strings. I will tell you in advance that you can't measure length of integer or length of float. Strings only for now, and some other types that we will see next lesson. So len, let's use some string sample 1, for example. So length of the string sample1 is 17. This means there are 17 characters in sample string 1. All characters, including spaces, line breaks, and everything that is in a string. So if we speak about length of the string, this means number of characters, and I mean pretty much all characters, even spaces and everything you have added there. So 17 letters. I'll change this string to something simpler. I'll do just a hello. Hello has 5 letters in it. And I will show you the escape character as well. Remember, I told you that if you want to use, for me, it's a single quote. If you want to use a single quote inside, you need to escape it using a backward slash. And if I start counting these letters, looking at them, how many characters is there in this string without using method length? How many characters there is in the string hello and the quote? 9. No, we don't count these quotes. These quotes are for creating the string. We're looking at these symbols. 7. But if we use method len, we'll see that there are only 6. Why is that? Because escape character doesn't count. It is there to make quote be visible, to stop quote from breaking the string. But escape character is not a character that we print, so we don't count it. So this rule will remain. So if strings have length, this means that they have characters, and we need to understand that these characters are ordered. So each character has its own order, because every time we print the string, all letters are on the same place. They don't swap between each other. So this makes us think that if every character is on its own place, maybe I can take these characters out somehow. And it is done by indexing. Now I will use a string sample 1. Indexing in Python, it's not only with strings. You will learn lists, tuples, and sets next lesson, and you will see that there are indexes as well. Indexes are actually integers, numbers, and these numbers represent the order of the letter. So basically, on what place each character stands. And if I do, I can index by adding square brackets right after the string and putting some integer inside. I will do 1. I want first letter. Let's see. E. Actually, when you have a lot of comments, you can close them like that, pushing minus sign, and then you won't see them. So comments can be hidden. So if we look at string sample 1, we will see that first letter is a capital letter H, not E. And when I try to get the first number, I still get an E. So basically a second letter. And the reason for that is how everything is counted in programming. It's not Python thing. It's pretty much in every programming language. So when you count something, you always start with a 0. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on and so on. Every next character gets a +1 index. So if we speak about this string, we were checking that it was 17 characters long. And if we start counting from 0, you will see that if string is 17 characters long, what is its maximum index? 16. So pretty much last index is always length of the string minus 1. Because we start counting from 0. That's the thing. So if I wanted the first letter, I would just add a 0. And this will give me a letter H. What we also need to know that strings are immutable. So you can't change original string. Whatever we do with a string, is it indexing, or we will be using transformation methods today as well. Whatever you do with a string, you just get a new string instead. So it's not the same string that was changed. Strings are immutable, so you always get a new string in advance. But I'll come back to indexing. So if you want to get one letter, you can write an index. If I write index 16, I will get letter D because it's the last letter of this string. I will try index 17. So index that doesn't exist. So we have 17 characters, start counting with 0, so last index is 17 minus 1. I will get an error. And Python does have an error for indexing, and it's an index error. So this actually means that you're trying to get value that doesn't exist. So if there is no value inside this, if there is no character on this position, this index doesn't exist too. So you can't ask indexes that doesn't exist. So I'll leave it like that. 16. If you look at some older languages, well, not older, but some other languages, for example, PHP or JavaScript, actually, you can only take one letter at a time. These languages don't allow, they do have separate methods, but if you use square brackets, they will give you only one character at a time. Python is different from that, and Python allows you to get a slice of characters, not just one. So what I can do here? I will start with let's say 5 is a space. I'll start with 6. I'll say that I want 6 character and up to, let's say, this letter D, which should represent 10. Yeah, so we have L is 9, D is 10. I can put this symbol and add 10. I did count correctly. D is it has index 10, but we don't have D in here. But Python does give you opportunity to slice strings. Why is that? That's the second rule. This is the second rule. First rule was that whenever you count something, you start with 0. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3. And the second rule, whenever you slice something, so you do start and end numbers, last number never counts. So if I wanted 10 to be included, I should write 11. So one more. It's the second rule, and pretty much everywhere in Python, if you do slicing, last integer you put in the square brackets is not included. So if I want 6 to 10 included, I need to use index with which is one larger. What if I want the last string? So I know this string last index is 16. We already saw that. If I put it this way, up to 16, I still won't get the last number. So I need to use a non-existing index, 17. In this case, there will not be error because there is 16th and 17th is not included, so it's not a problem. Another life hack for that is you can leave it empty. So you can leave it like that. For Python, it means from the 6th character, index 6, till the end. So you can leave it empty, you just put the sign inside and that's okay. It actually works the other way around. So if you want from start until some symbol, let's say 10 or 11, we can do that. So we just don't put anything here when we start and leave the end number. I can actually write you a comment here. So we have a start and an end. End is not included. Yep. This slicing is what makes Python different from most other languages, because other languages they either have a separate method for slice or they don't have slicing at all. No, more likely to have separate method. What else can be done here? We can choose step. Step is pretty much how many letters we skip before taking something. So I will put another sign and put 2. Right, colon and semicolon. Do it this way. From start till 11th index not included with a step 2. This means we take every second letter. Not all of them, but every second letter. H is the first one, E we skip it, L is the second, O, second L we skip it, we take O, then we skip space, and so on and so on. So every second letter. So the last thing here after the colon is a step. And step can be an integer, so you can take every third, every fourth, every fifth, whatever you need. Whenever you slice a string like that, you don't change original. This equation returns you a new string. So basically, this part I selected has a data type of string, and it creates a new string for our print statement. Or, for example, if I want to save it, I can do it this way. So I can save part of the string to a separate variable. Or if I want to change an original, then I would do it this way. So basically take original variable and give it edited string type. So this is because strings are immutable and you're not you can't change strings at all. So basically strings always return a new string. There is another way of selecting.
Can you explain one more time how this steps work?
First is a start. If it's empty, this means from the start of the string. Second is end. If it's empty, this means till the end of the string. If you have some integer in here, this means this integer minus 1. So this integer is not included, only the previous one. Last one is a step. So which letter we take? Step 2 means every second letter. If we take hello world, we have this output here. And if we take, we do from the start, from the beginning. So H is included, E is not, L is included, second L is not, O is included, space is not, W is included, O is not, R is included, L is not, and D is included. If we put step 3, this means every third, every fourth, every fifth, if you need that.
Okay.
There is another way of getting numbers, and this way is negative indexes. So basically, if you want to take numbers from right to left, characters from right to left, there are negative indexes. I'll just write a couple of those because they actually go the same way. So what does this mean? If we look from left to right, we start with 0 and then count integers 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. If we start from right to left, we have negative indexes. And because Python doesn't have a negative 0, JavaScript does, for example, you start with -1. So -1 is the last character of the string. And if I use it in a print statement like that, print string sample 1 -1, I will get the last letter. What if I want a couple of last letters? For example, last, I don't know, 3 maybe letters. I can put it this way and nothing will work. The reason for that is quite simple. uh, even if we count from right to left, indexes are still done from left to right. So -3 stands before -1. So if I want this slice, I need to do it the other way around. -3 colon -1. And as I told before, last index is not included. So -1 is the last index in this slice. It's not included. So if you want last 3 letters of string, you should leave second part empty. So like that. From -3 till the end. And negative indexes are not used very often. They usually are used when you need last couple of symbols or something like that. In other cases, you usually use normal positive indexes, but it is possible. One more thing, string sample 1. I did show you positive steps, like every second, every third, and so on and so on. We can have negative steps as well. This means, for us, this means, let's say, I'll leave 2 colons here. What does this mean for us, this part? This means we start from the beginning and finish with the end of the string. We don't have start and end numbers. There is a colon here without any values on the left, on the right. And another colon for step, I can use steps like -1. This is negative step. What it will do? It will take all of the symbols from the string, but from right to left. Negative step, -1. So take last one, the one before, the one before, the one before, and so on and so on. So basically what I have here is a hello world backwards. So if you need to reverse a string, you can use that logic. Of course, it will work with some, let's say, 4 till 12, for example. It will work with shorter strings as well. I think we need to use -12 -4. Nope. Nope, it doesn't. Negative doesn't work this way. Okay, so you can use negative steps for the strings, but you need to leave for start and end empties. So basically, it's any string backwards. Any questions on that part? Okay, so all of these indexing are created for you to take some parts of the string you might want to use. So maybe you want to cut some names from the string, cut some numbers, and so on and so on. These are all strings, and one thing you need to understand in programming that will help you to develop faster, that if some equation returns a string, this means you can work with this equation like with a string. So basically, all of this is a string. What does that mean for me? It means that I can add another string, for example, to that, because it is a string. If I check type of that equation, it's still a string. And if I check type of that equation, what will that be? String. It's still a string. So basically what you need to learn, that if something returns you a string, then you can use it as a string and apply all of the string methods and so on and so on and so on. And let's see some string methods then. If you don't have any other questions, I will hide this comment and hide this. I will delete that for you. And I will go here. So one of the reasons, well, not one of the reasons, one of the rules in programming is that uppercase and lowercase letters are different letters. So if you say I have a variable a equal to 5 and a variable large a equal to 10, if I print a and print uppercase a, these are two different variables. And it works same with characters. So if you have uppercase characters in the string and or lowercase, these are different characters and that creates a different string, so they are not equal. I can show you even more that, for example, lowercase a is larger than uppercase a. And even more than that, I can show you that, for example, number 1, 2, 3 can be compared to some other letters, for example, like that. So 1, 2, 3, we have false is smaller than ASD. And in order to understand how it works, we need to Google Unicode character table. If you write it in Google Unicode character table, you will get list of Unicode characters. On the Wikipedia. And you can skip the first part. First part is for some, let's say, characters you don't usually use on a keyboard. But if you skip first table and go to the next one, you can see that you have ordered characters in this symbol. They do have an order, and each symbol stands on its own place. And if you look here, when you compare two strings between each other, or two letters, for example, basically Python or any other programming language, they don't understand letters. They can't read. They don't understand words. They don't understand our rules of creating words. What they do understand is numbers. And when you compare two strings, their position here is compared. And if we look through this table, we have some symbols in the beginning, then we have numbers from 0 to 9, then we have some other set of symbols, then we have capital letters. I'm speaking about Latin now. Then we have another set of symbols, and then we have lowercase letters. So basically, and we have even more symbols when we go below. So basically what is done, when I compare lowercase a and an uppercase a, what Python does, it looks at these numbers. And it sees that uppercase number has 34 and the lowercase a number has number 66. Lowercase a is larger than an uppercase a. And in order for you to remember that, because we have quite a lot of symbols, but we usually will be comparing number strings or letter strings. Remember it this way, that the lowest priority is numbers, then it's capital letters, and then it's lowercase letters. If we speak about English Latin. If you use some other languages with different symbols, for example, Cyrillic or maybe Greek or maybe something else, this table continues down below for all of the possible symbols you have. And all of them have an extra number added. So basically, the lower we go down this table, the larger the character is from the Python point of view. And Cyrillic is here at the bottom. If you know Cyrillic, use it. So you can find it here. And if anyone interested in other languages, you can actually see them all here on this page. So basically, the lower down, the larger the letter is from the Python point of view. And this is why sometimes, because of that comparison by Python, we need to transform our strings from lowercase, uppercase, and so on, to uppercase, to lowercase. Sometimes we need to do that. Have you ever mentioned that when you write your login, it's not case sensitive? So you can write your login with capital letters or you can write your login with lowercase letters. It will still work. And if you do that with password, it's not, because of different reasons. Password is a different thing. But if you use login, for example, login to your email account or something like that, you can use all capital letters and it doesn't count, because programs that use your input will transform it to lowercase anyways, or maybe to uppercase. It depends how the program works. So we have different methods that return us a transformed string. And I will write a print statement. Uh, the commentary. I will still be using string sample 1 for now. Let's use string sample 2. We have different letter cases there. And before that, we only saw methods with brackets. So there was some method name, and you put value inside the brackets. We also have methods that use dot notation. So called dot notation, you just put a dot and use one of the methods. Actually, before we continue, I just put it a dot. You can see that PyCharm offers you all possible methods that can be used with this data type. So this is a string. Python does recognize string sample2 as a string type. And all of these methods you have here, you can see it on the right side. These are string methods. So methods working with strings, str. Don't look at double underscore methods. These are for later for object-oriented programming. But all of the normal regular methods are having this str sign here, and you can use them. So let's do upper first. Upper. So upper changes all of the characters inside the string to uppercase characters. So if you need to change everything to uppercase, you can use method upper. What you need to remember, strings are immutable. This doesn't change the original. So if I print string sample2 like that, it will still be like it was before. So these methods doesn't change original variables, and if you want to change one, you will be needing to use this logic, string sample2 dot upper. So here you reassign the value. You say that string sample2 now will have the same text but in uppercase. This way you can change the original. Other way, if you use it like that here, original won't be changed. It's not the best practice to change original variables, but sometimes you will want to do that. We will be looking at different cases later on in the course. So it's same with lowercase, but we have two separate methods for lowercase. And that's why I actually asked you to make that German sample, because German, this letter, double S letter, is a bit different when we speak about typing. When you write it on a paper, it does have lower and uppercase, but in computers, when you type text, this letter doesn't have lowercase. It's always in uppercase. Basically, it doesn't have different cases. So what we can do, I will use a German sample and use a method lower and do the same thing with method casefold. These are two exactly same methods, apart from one thing. When we have some letters like double S, that doesn't have any cases, so it does have only upper or only lower case. When we use method lower, this letter won't be transformed in any way. So it will stay the same. But if we use casefold method, it will transform these letters to Latin alternatives. So we did add double S here. Actually, I don't know any other languages and letters where this can be used, but I always show this example so you will understand that there are two different types of lowercase methods, and the only reason for them is these special letters that don't have different cases. So I usually use lower all the time, but maybe someone from you will work with some different languages and you will need that knowledge. You see, from the other points of view, they are exactly same. They don't change absolutely anything.
What does this case hold?
Changes this representation to alternative in Latin.
Hmm.
So it's double S now put in Latin lowercase letters instead of one symbol. Well, of course, the length of the string was changed as well because we have one extra character in there. I'm not sure if there are any other examples. At least I don't know of any. And before we continue to other methods,
I have a question.
Yep.
Why did it lower? There, it's ordered lower.
Well, we can change it to, for example, that.
So that was just an example.
That was just an example. Yeah. Before we continue, I'll show you some extra methods. Is upper and the method print German sample is lower. Is lower. These two methods are needed to check if the string is only uppercase or only lowercase. And compared to previous methods I showed you, these two always return a boolean. So it's true or false. We will be looking at if else construction that uses booleans to determine whether the condition is true or false. And these methods can be used there. So basically you can check if the string is all uppercase or is all lowercase. So is upper or is lower. Any questions so far? I'll show you.
For me, it's not working.
See? You don't have opening closing brackets in that. Yeah, maybe I need to explain that as well. So let's see. I'll do it this way. Print. We have method type. We know that. Yep, method type. I will print it this way without brackets. Without brackets, without value, I will just say print type. What I will get? I will get class type. So it is some type, or maybe I can use print. Built-in function print. So basically, what creates, what makes method work is brackets. Brackets are the calling of method. So if there are brackets after the method, you do call this method, so you actually make it work. If there is no brackets, you just say, oh, this is print. This is a method, but we don't start it, don't make it work. So we just actually tell about that. So if you forget adding, if you forget to add brackets, this method won't work. Maybe some other line of code that causes the same error. 46 components upper. Here we didn't call the method upper.
Mhm.
What made string sample 2 a function. So we basically saved upper methods inside string sample 2. And now you're trying to get is upper from a function.
Mm.
So you need to add brackets here. Should work now.
Yeah, good enough. Thank you.
Welcome. So I can show you the problem that occurred that Erwin has found. For example, if you want to change something, string sample to upper, Erwin forgot to put brackets in here. Yes, so if I print string sample 2, I will see that it's a built-in method now, not a string. Why is that? Because of the lack of brackets here. I already showed this example before. So this line of code returns you a built-in method. It doesn't return you the result of this method. It does return you the method. So if you add brackets here, you will see that now this upper method works and this method returns a string. So we can use it. Let's do two more examples. I will do string sample 2 again. Second thing we need to know to do is capitalize or string sample 2 title methods. Capitalize is not used very often, but title is quite a thing. For example, have you ever tried registering somewhere and writing your name in lowercase letters or maybe in uppercase letters? And then later, when you use the program, you see that your name is usually written normally with a capital first letter and rest of the letters lowercase. The thing is that there is a capitalize and title method. What capitalize does, it puts all of the letters in the string to lowercase, except for the first one. It puts first one into the uppercase. And you need to understand that we speak about string as a data type, not about sentences. Because if I put, for example, if I do it this way, if I do it hello, first letter is lowercase, dot, my name is or something else, capitalize works only for the first character in the string. So basically index 0. The rest of the indexes are changed to lowercase anyways. This is how capitalize works. So does first letter capital, rest of the letters lowercase. If we speak about title, title takes every single word inside your string and makes first letter capital, rest of the letters lowercase. So if you look at the second example, first L, I, L, M, each letter. And again, Python doesn't understand sentences. Python doesn't understand where one sentence ends and the other one starts. Python understands characters only. This is why title works with each word. So if you want to save name no matter how user entered it and you want to save it right, you should probably use method title, so it will correct all the mistakes of the user inputting his name with wrong cases.
And if you want to start every sentence with the capital letter,
Then you don't have such a method in Python. So you need to use it's either some library or some other functional logic that we need to create. We'll speak about similar things later. And there is an is title method, print string sample is title, but there is no is capitalized method. So the only is title. Same again. Is title is lower is upper returns a boolean. Is title basically returns true only if all words start with a capital letter and other symbols are lowercase. And what I didn't show you, but it works as well, because these all are string methods. So if I have, for example, print, let's say string like that, hello world dot upper, we can do this. Yeah, I don't have to have a variable there. I can just write a string if I want to. Because string is a string, and string methods can be applied to any type of strings. For example, I can do it this way to string sample1, say from start to 11 dot upper. This is allowed as well. So I can slice a string. If I slice a string, I get a string back. So whole this selected code is a string. This means I can put dot upper here and use it as a string, work with it as a string. So you need to get used to that, but at some time you will start understanding. Any equation, whatever it is, if it returns a string, you can count it as a string and use all of the string methods and everything you can do with a string. Actually, I can also put square brackets here and say I want -1 last symbol. It will work as well. Why? Because all of that is still a string. Or I can slice it. For example, take from 5 till 7, no problem, space and a W. So all of that is a string, and whatever I got from here, it's still a string. Yep. So the whole this equation, it's still a string. So I can take that and say, let's do is lower. Check if it's all lowercase. It's false. Or if I check is upper, so it will return true because yes, space and capital W is all uppercase. Now, when I check all of this equation, what data type it is now? No, Boolean, because it returned us Boolean. So now all of this line of code I selected is now a Boolean. So it's string here when we slice it. It is string here when we take variable. It's still a string when we slice it. It's still a string when we use upper method. It's still a string where we slice it again. But after we use is upper method is upper returns a boolean. So now all of this equation is a boolean. So I can use that as a boolean true if I need somewhere. But I will be speaking about that quite often because you need to get used to it. It's not logical for people who never use programming, but it's a good thing to know. All right, I offer to do a break.